The both of you have been part of incredibly popular television shows that have devoted fan bases between Lost and Game of Thrones. How does that then affect your decisions as an actor as far as the movies you make, the parts that you want to do? Do you try to then cater to what you know fans might want to do, or does that free you to then say, I want to do something completely different and a departure from everything they know me from already doing?
I personally think I'm still learning that. Adewale has more experience, I think, but I'm very much, it's my first TV show, Game of Thrones, and I'm learning what I like doing outside of it. It can be very, very liberating because it means you're working each year, and in the 6 months you have off, you can go and you can select what you want to do. And it can be quite constrictive because it means there's certain things that come along that you can't do because you're in the TV show. I love being in Game of Thrones, and what I'm trying to do at the moment is do movies alongside it. I want to be able to do TV movies and theatre. I want to work on all mediums, and it's interesting. This is quite similar genre to Game of Thrones, but the next thing I do will be wildly different. So it's just having an eclectic career, I think.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Kit. I just, as an actor, try to stay invigorated about what projects I'm working on. I mean, straight after doing Pompeii, I went and did Annie, which was the musical, and I'm dancing and singing. But it was, it's very different from what this is, which is a very intense, dramatic drama with, impending doom. So sometimes I would choose the project just based on what I've just done because I need just a relief. But always, I think it's motivated by the story and then my part within that story. And in this case, we have a phenomenon that occurred in our history, and then we have these great iconic characters that were enshrined in this volcanic ash. It was a no-brainer.
Everybody has their own process as far as chemistry and bonding so that it kind of comes through on camera. Did you guys have anything special that you managed to work on, I guess, in trying to get that fluid interaction? Because when they're in the cells and even when you're in the arena, it's very natural. So did that come from your regular interactions, or it's just something that you're that good of an actor to be able to pull off what seems to be a very easy relationship?
I think for me, what's always important with other actors when you're working in film is being able to. I find it very important to know them off camera, and what really helped that with me and Addy was that we were doing boot camp together beforehand for 4 weeks, so we got that camaraderie leading up to the film before we even started it, and that's important for me. I'm not particularly a method actor, but I do find that I like to know the person I'm working opposite before I know their character. It's a strange thing, but I think that's probably me.
Well, for me, the initial scenes where we were in that prison, we shot those first where we didn't know each other, and there's more animosity and sizing each other up. We're actually quite difficult because he's a really nice guy. he's a really nice guy, and it's like it's hard to be, So those kind of scenes are hard. But I think it was very organic. I think Kit and I are both from London, so we already had this common cultural bond, and then the process of training and it really bonded us further because it was very. It was a camaraderie because it was very tough, and we had to support each other through the process. So that kind of just naturally bled into the performances.
From doing other projects where obviously you're doing a lot of weapons training and fight choreography, does it kind of shorten the learning curve a little bit when you're doing a movie like Pompeii, or is it basically like throw all that out, start from scratch?
I will say with this movie, I thought it was going to help, and then this went further than anything I've ever done. Yeah. It was like I came in going, I'm Mr. Big Gun. I know I've used swords before. I've ridden a horse, and then I got in there, and they were like, okay, here's 2 swords that you're going to have to fight with, and then you're going to have to learn the shield stuff later. And if you can do this flash little move, then that would be great. And by the way, you're learning 12 fights that are all about 30 minutes long. We'll cut them down, but they're about 30 minutes long. So it was ridiculous amount. And I went back to Game of Thrones, the TV show, having done this, immeasurably better fighter than I had come to Pompeii as being. So it taught me a lot about the dance routine of a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all of what I've done in the past, whether it's Mummy Returns, G.I. Joe, those kind of action movies, again, it doesn't prepare you for this. It took it to another level. It was very serious training because we wanted to depict it in a real way, but you know, it's just, I'm much better in the kitchen with a knife. It's just, you just develop new skills. I think what I got out of it is the alphabet of swordsmanship. You remember we had it drilled into us from the very onset. It's such a monotonous way of learning, but it's so imperative to becoming a great swordsman. And then when we're on set, you know, the director, Paul W.S. Anderson, would say, you know what, I want another fight sequence there. Give me an A, B, and a C, and you know, and so we knew instinctively what to do. So that, I mean, you'll take that with you, as Kit says, to your next job, so you just feel you're well equipped now.
Does acting against CGI and visual effects get any easier the more you do it? Some actors struggle with it sometimes. Sometimes it's a new learning process when you're used to just acting with practical effects or people in front of you. I mean, obviously the mountain's not there, the wall's not there. Any of these things aren't there. Does it make it easier for you to do it with repetition and with kind of experience?
I personally think that green screen acting and CGI acting isn't necessarily an actor's friend. You know, it isn't. I could say it is, but I'd be lying. I think it's very. We always would prefer to be in location with an actor opposite us without, you know, having to try and imagine everything around us. But you do get better at it. I think it does get easier, and in some ways it expands your imagination as an actor because you have to live in a green box sometimes. But what can really help is if you have a very, very brilliant technical team and a good director telling you what to do and giving you good direction, which Paul definitely was. I wouldn't say it's my favourite thing, but if it creates great effects, like it does in this movie, then it's my job to assist the CGI.
Yeah, I mean, it never gets easy, and it always varies depending on the project. I mean, for instance, in Pompeii, I remember there's the scene where there's Mount Vesuvius erupts, and then you have the tsunami coming toward you, then you have the raining down of rocks, and all these things are going on at the same time, and you don't see any. You just see this X is the mountain, and so to me that's where you as an actor come alive, and you have to recreate in your mind. And as Kit says, we are aided by a great production. They had digital setups of how it would go, but ultimately it comes down to you and your imagination, and I find that exciting.